Welcome everyone to the Michael J. Edwards Class of 1983 Retail and Merchandising Leadership Series celebrating 5 years of the program. Tonight's guest is Dr. Tsz Kwok, the Director of Academic Administration and the Director of Multicultural and Equity Affairs for the Graduate College at Drexel University. Dr. Kwok has been at Drexel for quite some time. In addition to his role that he currently has, he serves as an adjunct faculty member in our MS in Retail Merchandising online program and has been here and been with us for the 5 years that we have been in business. Dr. Kwok is the recipient of the 2022 Adjunct Faculty Award for Teaching Excellence and holds a doctorate in educational leadership with a master's degree in teaching, learning, and curriculum from Drexel University. Dr. Kwok serves more than 6,000 graduate students, both on campus and online, and supports faculty and professional staff members who teach and advise graduate students in all of Drexel's college and schools. He has also been especially involved in supporting our international graduate student community. Dr. Kwok continues to advocate for leadership development, creative leadership, domestic and international student orientation, and supports programs and qualitative research methods within Drexel community. He is also the main teacher for our Retail and Merchandising 580 class, which is a seminar in leadership, and our new class that will be launching next year, which is Retail and Merchandising 585, the Inclusive Retail Leader. Welcome, Tsz. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Dr. Joseph. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. You can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, so we appreciate you. Like Dr. Joseph said, my name is Tsz Kwok. I am the Director for Academic Administration and Director for Multicultural Equity Affairs in the Graduate College here at Drexel University. I'm also a professor in the Retail and Merchandising program at the Westfall College of Media, Arts, and Design, under the direction of the only one and only Dr. Joseph Hancock. And so behind the walls of this great institution, I have the privilege to work with so many talented and wonderful people like faculty, professional staff, and students. And Dr. Joseph is one of them. And the reason I'm here today is because of this magnificent person. He is an archangel from up above. So Dr. Joseph, you can Venmo me later for these kind words. And by the way, Dr. Joseph is the 2023 recipient of the Lindback Distinguished Teaching Award. So I want to say congratulations on this monumental achievement. And it's very challenging to get this award, but he is the recipient of the 2023 of this award. So in addition to saying about wonderful things about Dr. Joseph, I really enjoy working with grad student population. It's the central reason why I'm still here today. I am single like a dollar bill, but I am married to Drexel professionally. So I really think of my students as my children. The only person who doesn't grow up and move away is me, the husband. So that's a little bit about me. Like Dr. Joseph said, I started my journey as an undergraduate student majoring in biology in the year 2000. Yes, that was 23 years ago. So I'm really happy to report that Asians don't raisins. So I just wanted to say that. And after graduating from college in 2005, I went straight to graduate school for my master's degree in teaching, learning, and curriculum. And after receiving my master's degree, I decided to take a few years off before acquiring my doctoral degree in educational leadership with a minor in creativity. And during my time off, I decided to travel around the world and explore my horizons while working full-time at Drexel. And I love learning about new things, new culture, new food, and new people. And I didn't watch much TV back in the days. If you ask me who is my favorite housewife, I will tell you it's my mother. I have not seen any popular housewife reality shows, so I learned through doing and traveling. And So eventually I told myself to be serious, to get back to school. So I ended up, staying in higher education because I find joy in advising and teaching students every day. So here I am today. I'm excited to deliver a workshop on self-leadership. So let me just share my screen now. All right, can everyone see my screen? Excellent, thank you. So I would like to give you an overview of this workshop. Because this is a workshop and not a lecture, your participation is encouraged to make this session more engaging and effective. Now, rather than lecturing at you for 1 hour, I would like for us to have a healthy dialogue and conversation. And so again, in this workshop, we will discuss the concept of self-leadership. Why is it important to you personally and professionally? And what are the important self-leadership skills to develop according to research? And later in the session, you will take a self-leadership assessment. Again, this workshop is about you. I want you to understand yourself before leading other people. After all, we should talk the talk, walk the walk. So in other words, we should support what we say, not just with words, and there are strategies, for that as well. So all right. So every great leader has many important qualities that make them successful. And according to research and literature review, one of the most important qualities is a strong sense of self-awareness and the ability to use it to lead by example. And so developing that self-leadership skills can have many benefits for personal and professional life. And you can work more efficiently and effectively, knowing your strengths and weaknesses. So in this workshop, we'll discuss what self-leadership is and why is it important, and skills you can focus, to develop your own self-leadership. All right. So it's important for us to establish the definition of leadership. If leadership is focused on how one influences others, then self-leadership is the process of influencing oneself. And self-leadership is the ability to lead yourself to achieve your personal and professional goals and objectives, while helping the organizations that you work for to be successful. It involves having a good understanding of who you are, where you want to go in life, and what can you accomplish, and having the ability to control your emotions and behavior in a way that guides you towards success. Now, the example that I gave earlier in my introduction is taking a break from school before going back for my doctoral degree. And I know, Kim, you'll be doing that, very soon. So I knew that if I continue right away after my master's degree, I would be burned out. So I decided to take a mini vacation or mental break in this case, here and there, to learn more about myself and see how I can actually have that determination and persistency to get my doctoral degree, and how this degree can help me accomplish what I needed to do in life. So again, in looking at the literature, leaders spend a lot of time focusing on the external factors like the processes. How do we gain more sales? People, how do we make more customers happy? And targets, like what can we do to reach out to more customers? We're constantly trying to shape and influence these external factors to bring us closer to our goals and objectives. But how often do you spend time focusing on yourself? We're always looking outward, so it's time for us to think differently, and that is looking inward. So if you can use the emoji icon, how many people believe in self-care? So do the thumbs up if you believe in self-care, thumbs down if you don't believe in self-care. Awesome, that's good. Excellent, that's exactly what I want to see. Because exactly, it's important, for you to take good care of your body, mind, and soul every day, and not just when you have a fever, right? So by doing self-care, you can reduce stress and help you stay healthy. So you shouldn't be surprised if I said that, hey, you would see better results if you spent more time on yourself and less time focusing on these external factors. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I was traveling around the world, because I was practicing self-care, self-reflection, and self-leadership. Research shows that people who practice self-leadership can really change their focus by allowing them to flourish as a leader, aligns their values and strengths with their purpose, and get the best out of themselves and their teams by focusing on what's important to them. And so developing a better sense of self is incredibly grounding. It helps you navigate the difficult situations with less stress and negative emotion because you have higher level of emotional intelligence, and that is the ability to manage one's emotion. Remember, self-leadership does not happen overnight. It takes effort on your part, but the end results are worth it, just like the L'Oreal commercial, because you're worth it. So why is self-leadership important? So again, here's a takeaway. It's that self-leadership is important because it is necessary to help you accomplish your professional goals and be a good leader to others. Good leaders must have the ability to lead by example. Remember the first slide that I showed you earlier, the lion looking into the mirror? It means practice what you preach. In the professional world, self-leadership benefits the organization as a whole in addition to the individual. It is a win-win situation. So self-leadership allows leader to influence others to take action so that the goals of the organizations are met. When you do a good job at a retail store, you make the company look good and your paycheck may grow as well. So now we're going to examine some of the roadblocks, okay? So let's face it, it's not easy to do the things that we know we should. Often the sacrifice and the effort necessary to reach out the desired destinies and to become fulfilled as people present formidable barriers. So how do we lead ourselves over the rough roads of our leadership journey? How do we motivate ourselves to hang in there when everything seems to be saying, give up, take the easy way out? In many ways, we experience the inner conflict of a devil and angel sitting on both sides of your shoulder. So in this part of the presentation, I would like for you to take a few minutes to assess some of your own leadership tendencies. So I'm gonna drop in a Word document in the chat box so that you can take the self assessment. So just give me 1 second. So again, the self-leadership assessment is now in the chat box. So just follow the instructions. Basically, it's a survey about yourself. I want you to take a few minutes to do the survey, add up your scores, and then we'll come back in 5 minutes to talk about your results. And you may have already seen it, like people like Philip and Kim. I know you have taken this course before, so this assessment should look really familiar to you. So it will definitely bring back nostalgic memories for you. I'll give you 2 more minutes and then we'll, resume our conversation. Let's see if we can wrap things up in 1 minute. All right, so does anyone want to share the results with the group? Again, I don't want to put anyone in a spot. It's okay if you don't, but I just want to hear, did you find, anything surprising that you didn't know about yourself? I was just curious. Dr. Joseph?
I'm slow at math. Hold on.
It is a lot of math. I do apologize. Wish I could make it easier. And Philip, I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just wondering if you remember this part of the assessment from a long time ago.
Yeah, I do think that I remember it, and I know that I guess something interesting for my score was around self-observation. I had around an 11 or so.
Do you believe that's accurate about yourself? Do you feel that's accurate?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Although I think the I haven't added them up yet specifically, but I think the self-reward is lower than the self punishment.
Why do you think that is?
uh, Perhaps I'm more critical of my mistakes than like it was talking about like rewarding your successes, that type of thing.
I see, I see. But it's good that you have high standards. That's what it sounds to me, that you have high standards about yourself. So maybe that's why you may be a little more self-critical about yourself, which is not, it's not a bad thing.
As most people, though. I think most people are very critical of themselves.
That is true. That it's true. Dr. Joseph, should we continue or you're
Oh,
still
you can go. I'm still like
Okay.
I'm still looking. Like,
I see.
so what is the difference between total score and total score not including self-punishment?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So a high score in this assessment suggests that you possess really like positive self-leadership tendencies. Just like, Philip said, he scored pretty high in self observation. So that means that's one of his strengths, in terms of, self-leadership. Now, if you score low in certain areas, that's okay too. But regardless of your score, again, this workshop is designed to help you implement and improve upon, several self-leadership techniques that are available. Again, a high score on this questionnaire indicates that you believe you're exercising these self-influence methods. Again, whether or not you're using them or using them effectively, it's a different story. So let's continue. Okay, go ahead.
No, that's great.
Oh, okay, great. So let's continue with some, the world-altering strategies. So in this slide, I'll be talking about some strategies for you to use to raise awareness about yourself and your surroundings. I know we, the people, possess the ability to make changes in our immediate worlds that will help us behave in desirable ways. And many of these alterations are simple, and yet they allow us to make the real differences in our actions. So again, the first example is, using physical objects. And this strategy really involves using like physical objects to remind us or to focus our attention on things that we really need to do. Probably the most well-known example of this strategy is using sticky notes around your workspace and remind us something, about something. And I know back in the days, people would literally put a string around their finger to remind themselves about something. Dr. Joseph, did you want to say something?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay,
No.
sorry. Okay. So yeah, one simple strategy that has been emphasized for improving the effectiveness of our arrangement of item is to make a list of pending tasks. And I know at the beginning of the workshop, for example, you want to make a list of important things that need to be done during the day, right? Beginning of the workday, not the workshop, sorry. So if possible, you should prioritize that list and keep it handy throughout the day. The list not only serves as a reminder of a guide, but also provide the basis for feeling of personal accomplishment and reward as things are being crossed out on the list. So in the chat box, feel free to share any of your, your usage of physical objects that help you prioritize things, regardless if you're, going to food shopping, for example. Do you make a list? How do you remind yourself to do certain things? So I think I'll be interested, for the group to see what some of those strategies are. Now, in addition, you may also want to remove negative cues as well. And I know this strategy really involves, again, removing negative things in your surrounding. So if we wish to eliminate our behaviors that we don't like, we first need to eliminate cues that might lead us to these behaviors. For example, have you ever wondered why you get so sleepy while working from home? Well, maybe you're studying in a comfortable bed where it's taking you to another state of mind. I mean, have you ever wondered why you get so hungry while you're studying? Maybe you're studying in the wrong area of the home, right? Like in the kitchen. So if we wish to cut down on our consumption of sweets, for another example, right? We can remove the candy jar from our work desk or coffee table. So the point is that we're always surrounded by physical cues that tend to encourage certain behaviors. So we need to design a working space that is healthy, with constructive working behavior. So I know last week, I just wanted to share this personal story with you. I was on Facebook and I saw an employee literally posted an 8x11 paper on the back of his body, literally on his back. And he literally says on that piece of paper, "Don't talk to me. I have no self-control. I can talk for hours." He literally said that on that piece of paper so that people don't talk to him, so that he can focus on his work. I thought that was really funny and relevant to this conversation. Another strategy is really increasing positive cues. And I know this is truly, this strategy is truly my favorite because it really involves increasing the cues that tend to lead to positive behaviors, right? So we can arrange cues that really impact important matters, such as, the kind of person that we can become. So again, when we're talking about the workspace, for example, it contains really many important cues for desired and undesired behavior. In my workspace at Drexel, for example, I have Harry Potter decors plastered all over the office. Since I'm spending like 8 to 10 hours in the office, I might as well make it my second home, right? So I don't know if you have seen Dr. Joseph's office on campus. His office is just as beautiful and decorated with artwork and Catwoman. That's all I have to say. So it's really beautiful. If you haven't been there, go visit him. He has such beautiful decors, and even at his home right now, you just don't see it, but he has a lot of beautiful decors because those things make him happy, right? So that he can function better. So I just wanted to mention that as an example. The other example I wanted to talk about is also coworkers can also serve as powerful cues, because I asked yourself this question: are their values consistent with yours? Because I know over time, coworkers are likely to influence what we become, right? So that's why I admired Dr. Joseph so much, because he sets the bar so high, he will put AT&T out of business. So I just want to say that. And if we know ourselves, we're striving towards what we believe in, and it's important to surround ourselves with the right people. So we're likely to select the role models from among associates. And so ask yourself this question: do your current role models display behaviors that are consistent with the achievements of what you have chosen for yourself? And if we work with people who are viewed as an ethical means to achieve their ends, we are exposing ourselves to undesirable cues. So keep those things in mind. So with that said, I would, love for you to examine your work environment or physical space at work. I mean, ask yourselves, what are these physical objects? How are the negative and positive cues? So again, we may not have time to do all the exercise. That's why I posted them in the Word document for you, so that you can, do them, at your leisure time. But again, some of these exercises to, remind yourselves, what's important, what's positive, what's negative, and how that's influencing your thinking. So, practice them, every day, so that you can become a better person, a better leader for your organization and for yourself. So again, we may not have time to go over, these exercises. So the other strategies that I wanted to talk about is, self-imposed strategies, which you see here. Now, in addition to creating and altering cues in our world to influence our own behavior, we can also exercise and control over ourselves directly. And the foundation of this self-imposed control is the information that we, possess about ourselves, which is self-awareness. So by observing our own behavior and its causes, we provide with the, necessary information to manage ourselves effectively. So again, the first imposed strategy is self-observation. Now, self-observation really involves determining when, why, and what, and under what conditions we use certain behaviors. For example, if we feel that we're not accomplishing enough each day in our work because of wasted time, we can study the distractions we experience. For example, are we spending too much time engaged in informal conversation by the water fountain or water cooler? By observing the amount of informal, conversations that we participate in and the conditions that exist at the same time, we can really learn about this behavior. So if 5 hours of these conversations begin during a visit to the office water cooler, we have useful information to help us cut down that behavior. So again, in this slide, I have given you an example on how to track these behaviors. I mean, this is really a true example that I heard from one of my coworkers, just listening to their conversation. So an example is, this person said this is the third time I have lost my temper and criticized someone today. And I have done it several times this week, and I wonder what's wrong and why I'm behaving like Lord Voldemort from Harry Potter. So again, this is an exercise for you to reflect upon your behavior, and so that you understand yourselves better, why you're getting upset or why you're getting happy and so forth. So again, try out these exercises on your own. All right. The next one is about setting goals. And a wise person once told me, if you don't have a destination, you will never get there. And this is true. It is useless to exert efforts with no directions. So we're going to do a mental exercise together. So let's just get ready, okay? And if you're driving, just be very careful. Don't close your eyes. So I just want you to be very careful, okay? So imagine for a moment that you and some friends decided to take a road trip together. So you quickly pile your stuff into this Scooby-Doo van, and you were selected as the driver. You start the van and head towards the nearest highway, let's just say I-95. And for a while, everyone in the van is so happy and smiling. Then about 25 minutes later, someone asks, "Where are we going?" And you reply, "I don't know." You shrug your shoulders and you said, "I don't know." Then the next minute, everyone turned into a diva. You have Mariah Carey, Madonna, Elton John, and Whitney Houston. So this story illustrates that what can happen to you in your daily activities if you fail to set a destination in terms of what you want to achieve. So in other words, your destination is your personal goal. So consider the definition of goal as the result of towards which your effort is being directed. And one way you can provide ourselves, direction in our self-leadership is through the usage of personal goals. And what we strive in terms of long-term life achievements, as well as daily, basis influence our behavior. Often we are not clear about our goals. And so we might want to achieve a position of importance and influence in life, for example, but we don't determine how we will go about obtaining the position or even what the position will be. So the systematic, thought out, intentional setting of personal goals can really influence our behavior positively. So self goals need to address in long-term and short-term and short-term objectives along the way. If we decide on a long-term goal of becoming a buyer, right, we need to accomplish many shorter range goals, such as understanding the ins and outs of a retail store. And our immediate behavior in turn should be pointing at specific short-term meaningful goals, like reading on information on how to be a buyer or talking to inside people of being a buyer. So it's important to engage in self-analysis to understand what we want out of life before we can set the goals that must be reached to achieve these ends. This process takes effort, and although our goals are likely to change over time, which is fine, it's important that we try to have current goals for our immediate efforts. So as you're writing out your goals, I'm going to give you some tips here. Conduct a self-examination, which means that before you can establish specific goals, you need to decide what's important to you and what you would like to accomplish in life. And you may also want to avoid fuzzy goals and be, specific, because if you say to yourself, "I will someday be the best buyer in the company," you may have a goal, but it's not likely to happen. And the challenge here is that the term "someday." It's unclear and not specific. When you're going to be the best buyer, what does best means? How are you going to do this? If your goals are more specific, they paint a more vivid picture of your destination and make it easier for you to get there. You may also want to set long-term and short-term goals. Your goals need to focus on the long and the short term. If you decide on a long-term goal is to become the top buyer in the company, you need to accomplish short-range goals there. For example, you may need to learn new or improve existing skills. Another way of looking at this is to imagine your long-term goals is to write a book. To do this, you set a short-term goal of writing a couple pages each day. And short-term goals really help you reach your long-term destination, what you truly value in life and your purpose in life. And number 4 is peaking with purpose or purposes. So think for a moment of the word purpose. What does it mean in this presentation? Well, according to the dictionary, it really refers to our reason for being, our aim in life, our reason for getting up in the morning. So in short, purpose established our ultimate long-term goals. You have to ask yourself 3 fundamental questions. Who am I? What am I meant to do here? And what am I trying to do with my life? So have you pondered these questions before? And do you know the answer? The importance of answering these questions is that if you want to truly be happy, you must discover your purpose and then live it. And again, having this purpose is the catalyst for organizing life. Purpose itself can serve as our guide on how to spend time and how to allocate resources. If we realize our meaning for existence, then every decision we make can guide it by this realization. So to clarify, recall the last time you went to the grocery store. Did you bring a shopping list with you? Now, if not, what happened? If you're like many other people, like me, when you got home, you realized you bought some items that you did not need. Similarly, without a purpose in life, can you buy or accomplish a shopping cart of goals that neither value nor need or want? So again, having purpose in life, it's kind of like shopping, like a shopping list at a store. In the grocery store of life, purpose helps you, but buy only what is truly important to you. So it can help you avoid spending time on things that don't value you. So again, in this next slide, I have created a sample for you to practice outside of this workshop, so that again, this exercise is already presented in the Word document that I provided you earlier. So again, I really encourage you to try it out. And we'll go to the next slide, and this is about self-reward. One of the most important methods that we possess is to lead ourselves to new achievements. It's self-reward. If we can influence our action positively by rewarding ourselves for desired behavior, furthermore, we're capable of rewarding ourselves at both physical and mental levels. At the physical level, we can reward ourselves with objects that we desire, and I do this all the time. I know in my self-leadership course, students have revealed numerous ways that they have used things that they value to reward themselves. And some examples are that they have used for completing tasks, including, with food like fried chicken, shopping, watching TV, enjoying an adult beverage, and going out to eat. And by rewarding ourselves with desirable items such as these, they really exert a positive effect, on their future work activity. For example, a salesperson who enjoys the self-rewarding gift of the day off or an expensive dinner after making a big sale. And you should reward yourself, for these, accomplishments along the way. The important point is that we can reward ourselves with things that we enjoy when we accomplish desired objectives. Many of us do this without realizing it is happening. So to increase our own motivation and effectiveness, the challenge is to identify those things we find rewarding and then use them systematically to reward our behavior. And we can also reward ourselves at the mental level. And we can do this through internal speech or through our imagination. So again, imagine if a salesperson finally makes the big sale. The individual may be calm on the outside, but we could listen inside. We might hear, "Yippee, I did it. I'm a genius. I'm the best." So we have often wonder, what Michael Jordan is thinking after shooting the ball in the hoop, right? We all probably engage in self-rewarding internal speech after such big successes like these. And why not try this powerful method for less momentous occasions, right? So this practice really, would be especially useful for those people who are quick to criticize themselves. We have a choice between focusing on what we're done right and building ourselves up and focusing what we have done wrong and getting down on ourselves. And research that has been done in this area indicates that the former strategies is more effective. Guilt and self-criticism may have their place in keeping us from engaging from socially and personally undesirable acts, but to rely on these mechanisms and ignore self-praise, it's a bad way to lead ourselves. So our self-esteem, enthusiasm, and enjoyment in life would likely to suffer. So again, finally, we can reward ourselves with our imagination. So again, I'm just going to give you an example. Picture yourself on an island in Hawaii right now. How does that sound in Hawaii? You can close your eyes and see the deep blue waters and white sand beaches with seagulls overhead and feel the warm sun on your face. You can picture the success and esteem you will experience and enjoy when you finally get the promotion you have been working for. So enjoyment such as an image after completion of each difficult task can really help us maintain that motivation we need as we face our labors. Indeed, the human mind is really capable of that powerfully motivating tool. So again, and I have an exercise for you in the Word document where you can try out some of these self-reward exercises. And again, this will encourage you to become a better self-leader. And I know this is also something I know, Philip, you mentioned it earlier about self-punishment. And I do want to mention that, one way that we lead ourselves, it's through the applications of various self-punishments. Unfortunately, many people rely too heavily on this approach sometimes. And I'm not saying you, Philip, I'm just saying this in general, because habitual guilt and self-criticism can really impair motivation and creativity. Self-punishment operates in much the same way as self-reward, which can impair motivation and creativity. Self-punishment operates in such a way, the same way as self-reward, in that it focuses on the self-applied consequences for behavior. The difference, it involves negative rather than the positive self-applied result to decrease undesired rather than increase desired behavior. And a salesperson, consider, for example, might engage in self-punishment after making a poor sales presentation, for example, refusing to play that weekly game of golf, or watching the big game on TV instead of working endlessly on that sales presentation is an example of how self-punishment might be carried out at the physical level. And at the mental level, negative internal speech or even images of possible negative results of behavior can really provide that self-punishment. And research and writing have generally indicated that self-punishment is not an effective strategy for controlling behavior. First, if we're applying punishment to ourselves, we can freely avoid it. We can decide purposely to use self-punishment to eliminate our undesired behaviors, which we're likely to find out that we're not going to use it consistently because it's unpleasant, and we can choose to avoid it. Second, those who use it consistently are likely to become discouraged and not enjoy their work. And so at times, though, we need to work on our negative behavior so that we can do things right. So this is why self-observation is important to accomplish this strategy. So I think, Philip, in this case, since you score really high in self-observation, I think you'll be really good at observing your own behavior and making the modification that is needed to become a better self-leader. So in this slide, again, I've provided some examples or techniques and strategies how you can monitor your self-punishment patterns. And remember, the key here is to observe yourself and correct these undesired behaviors. So really, that really concludes my presentation, because as I conclude my presentation, I will say this though: practice makes perfect. You know it, I know it, everyone knows it. And remember, no one is born to make requests, give feedback, do public speaking, delegate tasks, and so forth. The perfect example is an infant. Think about a kid. No kids are born evil. They do not come out of the mom's belly and start killing people. They don't do that. They learned through modeling, which is practicing through their surrounding. Just like leadership, this is an acquired skill. It's a process. We learn things over time through trial and mistakes. And so look for ways to make a difference. Practice what you preach. So again, throughout the presentation, I have presented several strategies for understanding and improving self-leadership in the face of difficult challenges and activities. And the exercises are to help make these ideas more concrete in terms of your own behavior. Hopefully, you decided to take time, exert the effort to try out some of these exercises. Remember, this is an ongoing process of self-reflection and practice. You can't accept yourself until you know yourself. You can't imagine yourself until you accept yourself. So thank you for coming out today. I'm happy to answer questions that you may have.
I guess my question would be about something like the types of affirmations that you like to start off with your day to become a better self-leader, or how do you give yourself a little I know that we do a lot at different companies I've at. We do our Monday morning meeting at 9:30, and it's the whole team all together. How do you get yourself pumped up for that so that you're being a good self-leader and coming to that very first meeting in a good mindset?
Absolutely. And thank you, Philip, for that question. This is such a wonderful question. Research actually shows that, the minute that you wake up, if the first 5 minutes you're having a bad morning, It
Mhm.
actually indicates that you're going to have a negative day for the rest
Okay.
of the day. So I'm very happy that you mentioned it, because usually people actually post, remember the signs that I was talking about earlier about
Mhm.
truth signs, basically. When you have quotes, to start off your day that you posted on your mirror, right? When you look in that mirror, you saw this quote, the best part of the day is waking up with a cup of coffee, for example. Like a quote like that can really motivate you and get you start your day on a positive, on a positive note. So I would suggest that, and also use like I said, your coworkers, right? Hang out with the people that has like a positive, vibe that you can connect with. And usually those people are the people that you can talk to throughout the day and encourage, each other to, keep on moving, keep on going. Because I know that, whenever I have issues, I would call Dr. Joseph and he would just listen to me, to my, blabbering mouth all day long. So yeah, having colleagues, coworkers, and friends like that will definitely get you throughout the day. But I think for me, just an example, sometimes you just have to look in the mirror just right before this presentation, right? I have to look in the mirror and ask myself, who's the best? You're the best. So you have to have this positive self-talk, and just tell yourself, you can do this, you got this. I mean, imagine that example that I gave about earlier about Michael Jordan. I mean, can you imagine him saying like, oh, never make it to the basket, I can never do this? Of course he's not going to make it to the basket, because that's what he's telling himself, right? So you have to tell yourself, you're the best, you're the beast, you can do this, you got this. So, but that
Just
was a very good
just
question.
like the movies.
That's right, exactly. Exactly.
It's true though.
Hmm.
Taz, this was great. I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
doing it. I've never experienced you and heard you talk about leadership before. So this was wonderful. This is my first.
Thank you very much.